Okay, here's our white screen. Are you hearing me okay? Are you hearing me okay? So you're seeing the doodling here. Okay, I just want to see if this is going through. This would be a good sign that this is going to work. Okay. Yeah, I don't think we're going to have this issue now. So yeah, after I show them this, how to do the web link inside Blackboard, then I'm going to show them a few features. This will be, whiteboard's kind of BS, but some people use it, right? They want to mark up stuff. But definitely I'm going to show them how to invite, how to copy their URL, right here, and what that looks like, so that if you wanted to and you wanted to send it to somebody, you can paste it anywhere, right? And that thing becomes transportable to an email, anything, any list that you could send out. People can click that at a certain time, and that's where they can meet, right? That, in this case, it's a US web. In our case, it's going to say something like csudh.zoom.us, something like that, to that effect, right? And other important things are manage participant list right here. So we get a nice list of the participants who are in here. This is where I need to have people coming in, a couple of other sites. This is going to, people will be coming into this particular Zoom meeting, my own private Zoom meeting. And so there'll be a few people over there. So I know you can't do this. Yeah, actually, you probably can, Ruben. But I'll have some of the guys from the control room just log in, and their names will be listed here, right? And then of course there's chat, where I can chat with people, show them chat. I'm just going to show them, as I said, basics. They can record the meeting, and then of course there's screen share. And I'm going to have things up like documents from Microsoft Office, right? So they'll be able to see things like, I can show them a document. We can go over a quiz, for example, and they can see what this looks like, what text looks like using this on Zoom, see if this works to their advantage. And I think I should point out as well, since we're doing this on YouTube, the quality of this is downgraded. It's not as good as it is on Zoom. I'm seeing it crisp and clear here on Zoom, whereas YouTube, it's a little bit downgraded for quality. So we can look at things like that. I'll have more things up here. Here's a PDF that I'm opening up, right? And so can go through looking at, I think it's downloading, right? It's taking a minute. Okay, 10 pages, good. So we can go nicely through a PDF, walking students through this. PowerPoint, same kind of thing, right? Do kind of a presentation where you walk people through. Right. Do you have, Ruben, do you have that? That's actually a really good one for me to have, the role. If you could okay, Calvin, can you hear me? Right, we're looking right now at PDF, just to kind of see what this looks like from a perspective of Zoom, right? I'm showing them how documents work to share your desktop, right? And so on and so forth. So we'll get that. And right here's chat. And then of course there's record features. Now it's at this point, after we've gone through all the basics, that I'm going to suggest at this point that we go to a live, to the webinar. And as you pointed out, Ruben, they're not going to get exactly the tool set that a student would get, but they get more or less, and I can turn on sound. So I'm going to do that right now. And let's see if I can get the invitation. Here comes the invitation, copy the URL, and here it comes. Okay. All right, I'll suggest the screenshot method. All right, so here is the actual Zoom webinar that we're holding now, that I want you guys to come in, and I want to see how the sound is managed on this. We were having a calamity before, and that was because I was using a speaker instead of headphones. So let's try this. So if you guys could come in on that Zoom link, right? That's how I'm going to invite people today to get a student eye view of Zoom. Again, webinarized, as Ruben will point out when I bring him in. It's not exactly the same experience, but it's quite similar. And for our purposes today, I think it works. So have a go at that. And let me see, I could keep track of you guys over here in our participants list. Yes. I'm beginning to see attendees, Calvin, Ruben, Fidel. Perfect. All right, you guys are all in. Cool. Let me turn over audio rights now to Ruben. Ruben, you got it.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Got it. Can you hear me?
Perfect. I want to just do a quick mic test with you, Steve.
It's good. I can hear it.
Great. Awesome. So just so that you know, this is just for the good of the group, is so because I have two windows open, one being Zoom now that I'm invited to the meeting, and the other one being that it's streamed live through YouTube. I'm still using one source, which is my headset right now, to communicate. So there's a slight lag. So what I've done to avoid that lag is just put my YouTube sound speaker, and I just canceled it. I just put it off.
Got it.
So hopefully if you start experiencing that kind of feedback too, because you're hearing two sound channels, if you will, maybe just doing that. It doesn't affect anyone else listening in. It's just more for our host purposes that are talking.
Gotcha.
But great.
Okay,
great.
Let me ask you a question, Ruben. So I just gave Calvin unmute and Fidel unmute, but I take it, guys, that you guys have your mutes on right now, right? So that would prevent, let's say, like I unmuted somebody and they have the kids or the dog is barking and they know it, so they can keep it on mute even though I'm trying to force a mute. It won't go on, right?
Right, right.
Calvin, are you guys there? Fidel? Unmute your mic.
Hello?
This is,
can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So only function I got is the mic. I don't have any video or anything like that. So
right.
Do they have video? Can I allow them video? If I can promote you guys to panelists. Here we go.
Right, to panel, exactly. Yep.
Let me here I am. I'm promoting you guys to panelists right now. Perfect. Okay, now you guys have rights. So that's
okay. Now I see the video.
Are you guys seeing this? So that's how, Ruben, that's how I'll give people rights as they come in, right?
Right. So I'm getting a message right now, Steve. It says you can't start your video because the host has stopped it.
Yes, same for me.
Has stopped video?
Yeah. It gives us the ability to click on the web icon, but the web camera icon, but when you click on it, it says you can't start your video because the host has stopped it.
Try this. Try this. Try this. Now that I've made you a panelist, I can make you co-host.
Perfect.
Okay.
You're now co-host.
Okay. Do you
Is
see
that,
it? Okay.
I can
Yep.
see your camera stuff is clearing up right now.
Perfect. Perfect.
Excellent, excellent. So first I promote you. That's what I want to do. I want you guys to come in regularly, just as everybody else does, and then I'll promote you in real time.
Excellent.
Okay, and then you guys take over. Like, Ruben, do you have something like out of the can that you could go with? Like
I
right
do.
now?
I do. And I can share this so that way it's for the good of the group and for everyone.
Can I say something? Can you guys
Go
hear?
ahead.
Yep.
As just feedback from someone participating, if I don't pause or mute the YouTube link, I get double audio the whole time.
Yeah,
Right,
we just shared
okay.
that.
Okay. So our participants, make sure you tell them that, are they going to start off on YouTube?
Good point. That's a good point. So guys, how do you think?
Not quite. So
I-
I'll
okay.
tell you right now, Steve, just to jump. Thank you, Fidel. That's a good point. And basically, what's happening right now is that, Steve, you're doing this through a webinar fashion, which has different roles than what an actual instructor will utilize, right? So the instructor is primarily going to use a Zoom meeting, not necessarily a webinar fashion. So what we're doing for this medium, just so that everybody has access to just be able to watch and not necessarily just chime in with questions, they're going to be forced to use the chat. Now, for our purposes, because we're doing this with Steve, and then we're also going to shed some light about some of the best practices, the attendees, the instructors, if you will, they're just going to be viewing this via YouTube. For our internal purposes.
No, I was going to say,
Uh-huh.
that's what I wanted to say, is that just what you guys are pointing out. If we have two things going on at once, this is going to be always it's the interface issue, because we started off with YouTube and we want to end up in Zoom, right? And if you have both going, just as Fidel's pointing out, you're going to get the double audio thing, right? So when I post the link, I got to be really more clear about this. I'm going to say, I'm going to post this link, and as soon as you guys click and go over and start to go into Zoom, you're going to get two audios. You're going to get one from Zoom and one from. So how's the best way? Should I tell them to shut off YouTube altogether? Or
No. So Steve, I honestly think what I'm tracking here is it's probably best, because when we hosted this last week, we didn't do it through a webinar fashion, because the regular Zoom meeting can actually host, like at least over 100 participants now, because they've upped it. So doing it through the webinar fashion, let me ask you, are we married to YouTube?
No. Here's the thing. No. This is why I want to go over this, because there's best practice on this. We're probably far from best practice on this. Okay. How about something like this, where instead of I send them this link that just goes to mayhem, basically, is what you're saying, and we're not going to get exactly what we want anyway. Instead, let's have them go to a quick sign-in form where I can just gather up their email addresses. And then I send out an invitation. I'll say, I'm going to send out an invitation within a few minutes. We'll reconfigure a new Zoom session, right? Away from what do you think?
So just my thoughts initially are, this is what Reza mentioned about keeping it simple. If we're going to take them in and out, it's going to be disruption. Yeah. So things like, and even Fidel can attest to it, like you'll have people that forgot to close one meeting and then enter another meeting, and now they have feedback. Yeah. That's what we want to avoid. So
Steve, I mentioned this in the chat. Sorry, Ruben. And Ruben, you know this. Anybody who's a host can force mute anybody. So if, like you said, someone has
mute
a
all,
you could do a mute all. You could hover over their name and participants and mute them, overwrite them.
Okay. I can see that. It's good to know, and I will. So I'm just doing on the handoff here, because we're starting off, and we do have everybody in web. The reason we're using webinar format is because it does get us out to YouTube. We could do Facebook as well if we wanted to, right? So that's kind of the reason. We tried this with OBS, and we just couldn't get it to get us the right resolution. There's probably a way to do this, and I just wasn't able to figure it out, right? And anyway, we're going to have the same problem with that as we would with this method, because we got to make a handoff at some point, right?
Right. So my comment to this, if we are saying let's stick with YouTube, so we know a couple things here. So YouTube, there is a 3-second lag or latency, right, that we're experiencing. And
Right.
if we do it this way, we are just telling participants that you can ask your questions, but just through the chat window. And therefore, we do not want to bring them in because that will create more havoc for yourself as being the host, to bring somebody in a promotion state over to the panelist role, then giving them privileges to co-host role.
Right.
And
No,
then that
well,
co-host will have to
I
lose
think
that
we got,
privilege. And
think,
then we go.
I think we have to bring YouTube to a, like in this presentation, I have to say, okay, YouTube session is now over, right?
Well, if you do that, then you are having to promote everyone because they're essentially going to say, they're going to want to say something. It's going to be very difficult for you to handpick each one that has a comment to say. So you would have to bring them over from one role, promote them, and then give them the privilege when they raise their hand per se. But you're going to have a long list of attendees, which, you know, you're going to have to manage that in the attendees window. And that's going to be, it's not going to be fun. You're going to lose
No,
time.
are you talking about over on the YouTube side?
No. YouTube, we know that they can't, a participant can't join via audio. They can only
Okay.
chat.
Okay.
And what
So
works.
are you saying that maybe we should just forego this? Everybody meets us in a webinar
I think so personally.
and they just leave it at everybody. We just leave it in YouTube, right?
Well, not quite. So I'll share with you. So based on what I'm experiencing, I think YouTube works sound if we don't allow the participants to chat via or to share something via audio, meaning they just are forced to chat. That way they capture their questions. Someone else's support can also be chatting, responding to the questions, and hopefully leading to, you know, answering those questions while you focused, the host focuses on the direction of today's purpose of the training, which is getting them to get started via through Blackboard using a Zoom application, and then showing them the best practices, the bells and whistles.
No, I like this.
So if
So
not, the other option,
they're never actually going to go into a webinar with me today because that is just going to get too much of a shit show to manage.
I would say, honestly, webinar, the reason why they give it that name webinar, how Zoom differentiates, is that webinar is a talking head, meaning only one person is talking. It's ideal just for one person or two that are the presenters talking. You're not really inviting others to communicate via audio. This is why you have like Q&As and chats. Now you have the live stream capability where they can chat within those platforms. A regular Zoom meeting can actually support numerous of people, and then it gives them that access and freedom to actually unmute their mic if they wish, so that way they can answer a question or for you to have more free range and control.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Okay, I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
We should manage this completely on YouTube and because we're going to get into a super mess with this sound thing, right? And we're all pretty experienced, and we all kind of got. I did, and Fidel got it too. But it's going to be natural because you're going to have two things going at once with a lag, right?
Yeah.
So here's my suggestion for us, right? I have to do the webinar side to get this out to YouTube, right? So that's a given. I can't go to any other meeting. What would be cool is if you had a meeting, Ruben, right? And then you're inviting, let's see.
That's tricky. I know what you're talking about.
I mean, I can use my secondary personal meeting thing here, but can I now start adding people and then they come in and they take over? I can make them co-host. Like, let me send this out to you just now.
And also, Steve, I have a suggestion, and I think you're kind of in this idea of we got to have YouTube. So there is a way. There is a way. And if that's the case, if we stick with the Zoom meeting, very similar to what Reza hosted, right? What was a Zoom meeting? That means we can record that meeting, okay, export the actual media file, okay, and then upload it into the YouTube channel so that everyone can review. We can also download the text and we can have that saved under the YouTube, let's say, notes section. So we can do it on the post as opposed to doing this live stream through YouTube. We can connect privately through the Zoom meeting and then upload it once it's completed so that they can refer to our meeting.
The only reason why
Go
we're
for it.
doing YouTube
Uh-huh.
is to show people what Zoom looks like without being in Zoom, because
Oh, gotcha.
it becomes
Gotcha.
kind of an impossibility.
Yeah.
Like what you're seeing right now, you can't really show this in Zoom.
Right.
You
Right.
can't really show this, right? These kinds
Yeah.
of buttons here. That's the only reason. And so, you know,
So I've
we can do that with screenshots.
right, but
that-
it's not going to be as dynamic as we want it to be through screenshots. At least it can be, but we don't want to be taking screenshots ad hoc, and you know, there is a slight delay on all of that, and we're going to experience that with YouTube already, so it's going to add more to that delay.
Well,
So
that's what I'm saying. Like if you guys are all in the particular Zoom meeting, not my Zoom meeting, the webinar Zoom meeting, but the Zoom meeting this one over here that I'm showing right now, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Do you guys see this up here? This address right here, the URL invitation.
I see it. Yeah.
Like if you go into that right now, right? We make this, even though this isn't CSU official, right?
Right.
That's why I was suggesting earlier, I'm going to have problems because I won't be able to get into that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Are you able to get in? Anybody able to get in with this address right here?
Yeah, I have to type it in.
It's long. I'll send this out. Let me send this out to you guys. Okay, hang on.
Okay.
Hang on.
And Steve, as you're doing that, the other suggestion is let's stick with. That's right. The webinar feature is the only way to. I'm thinking out loud, and as I think out loud, we're showing them through screen share a regular Zoom meeting, not the webinar interface, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. This is not the webinar interface.
Good. Good.
Okay. But this is a private Zoom meeting. This is the one thing. It'll be slightly different, but it's not that much different. I noted.
It's just the roles. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't want to confuse them.
No, they don't need to know all that. The basic is are the controls at the bottom and how they use this. Okay. Let me see. Send this to you guys. Hang on.
I'm going to say thank you, Bernie. So I'm just chime in. Cool.
Yeah, hang on. Guys. Here it comes. All right. So let's meet over on this one.
Okay.
Here. So when you guys get this one, you'll go out of the current webinar with me.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. It's telling me join video call. You're already in another. Do you want? Yeah. So it's going to tell me to get out.
Right. And I'm going to probably, let me see.
So I'm going to log out, join you in just a second.
Right. I see you coming in now, and I could give you more, and I can make you host right now. So now you're host, Ruben. Say something. Are you guys able to hear anything? I'm not hearing you through YouTube. I am hearing somebody type. Reza, can you say anything? Somebody, I can hear somebody typing in the back. But your mic is not working? Is your mic off? Okay, I know what this is. This is because it's coming from the other. All right. All right. Let me get back with you in a little bit here. I got to work on a few things. Okay, guys?